Hello, everyone. OmniCollective boys back here again. It is late at night for us. We all just got off of work. We're hanging out. We decided while we were recording some B-roll footage, we would get together and talk about the big Bungie news today. So if you have not heard, if you live under a rock, I suggest go check Twitter or just Google Bungie and find out the lovely information. Basically today, Sony Interactive bought Bungie. I don't have the dollar amount right off my head, but I know it was like
$3.9 billion.
$3.9 billion to buy Bungie. Wow. So
dead game, Lamau.
Right.
Very dead game.
So before we dive into like talking about our topics on this, I just want to have each one of you give me your honest, genuine opinion about how you feel this will do for Bungie.
You go first, Coach.
I mean, when I first heard the news, I was a little skeptical, but the fact that they're still keeping their creative control and freedom over Destiny 2 and future IPs, of course, I'm leaning more towards it because not only are there going to be more options for them to expand the type of content they're going to be putting out, but the projects are probably going to get bigger.
For me, I am skeptical optimism. I almost said optical. Skeptical optimism. At the verbiage they used, it looks like for the next 3 years, so we shouldn't see any changes. But after that, who fucking knows? I hope that Bungie learned their mistakes from Activision and won't repeat them. But who knows? We don't know because I don't think they know.
Isn't that kind of the motto of the gaming world nowadays? Nobody really knows in this world of billion-dollar monopolies in the gaming industry. I can tell you, as the resident boomer of the group, I never ever expected gaming to get to this point. But we've got a few things to talk about tonight. The first big key thing for me to take away from it is Bungie stated that they're going to stay multi-platform with Destiny 2.
They also mentioned that their future IPs will also be multi-platform as well. It was in their little Q&A.
And I think that's very important for the state of the game of Destiny 2 right now. And that's exciting because, I mean, nowadays, if you're staying like platform exclusive, you're going to make a lot of people mad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at Bethesda games. They were like, oh, yeah, current run of them. Yeah, the next set. Who knows? You never know.
Whoa.
Granted, Xbox hasn't had the greatest exclusives for a while.
Yeah, that's true. It's been kind of stinky.
Think Sea of Thieves has been their like last one that was like good. And Sony just acquired a ton and then just sat on it for a while. And Xbox is finally catching up, I think.
I think Sony's playing their cards close to their heart with the studios they're actually buying up. Now,
they said that to expect more acquisitions in the coming months.
I definitely believe it.
There's been a rumor of Take-Two Interactive being acquired somehow for a while. Someone said Xbox the other day. I don't know about that one. I think Xbox is pretty much done with their stuff for a while.
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So let me ask you guys this. Since we're all Destiny nerds, what do you think this means for the future of Destiny 2? Personally, I like the idea that there is now going to be capital and investments behind the studio outside of them being private. They're going to have access to a lot more capital and investment chains. And I think it may actually give us some good improvement on the back end, too, of the game system. Not only are we going to get better content, hopefully, but I think we're going to get some improvements on the back end that Destiny's much needed for a while.
So no waiting 6 hours to play on launch day?
That's still going to happen. When Destiny on a day, not on a daily, but at their peak times gets like over 1 million players, we're going to have server problems. There ain't no way. When games like FF hit those numbers easily and they still have server problems, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get server problems still.
We can hope. I think server problems are really just status quo for major games nowadays that are online.
For like live service games, you can never predict how many people you're going to get to play your game. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, I mean, gaming kind of blew up the last like year or so. So, I mean, it's not surprising.
I think one of the probably biggest upgrades we won't see, because I think that I think I saw Gig say this on Twitter, and I kind of agree with it. I think that a lot of the money and work is actually going to be put towards these new IPs that they're working at.
Oh, I definitely think so.
The only thing that Destiny might get is some like extra boost for some stuff, but we won't see like almost all of that 3.9 billion going to Destiny. I bet we'll see maybe $1 billion of it going to it, and then $2 billion going to the.
Well, and that's something I want to touch on, and I'm going to kind of jump topics from like our little sheet we have for our topics, is so many people don't understand the business side of everything. They literally think Bungie was just handed 3.9 billion cash from Sony to do whatever they want to with, and that's not how it functions in the business world. Like, and the first person that's going to see the benefits of that money is not going to actually be the dev studio. That's going to be all of the people that own stock and were original investors in Bungie. They're going to get their return first.
Oh, Sony stock went up like 4% like an hour after the thing went live. I saw that. Yeah, it went up like a fuck ton.
I mean, I really think at the end of the day, the biggest thing I would like to see is maybe some back-end engine upgrades or optimizations in areas where it still needs it.
Yeah, because I know they went through with Telesto and fixed. I think they fixed its spaghetti code the last time it fucked up the game. They went through and were like, we fixed Telesto for good now. We hope.
Well, we can always hope that Telesto doesn't break the game, but it's just kind of become par for the course for Destiny now.
Yeah, Telesto's just waiting for its next time to strike.
It's basically Destiny's version of I took an arrow to the knee.
That and Tanix.
Let's kind of divert topic here. So do you think, we all know that Bungie has talked about wanting to do a Destiny TV series for a while, and they got really serious talking about it last year during COVID and everything, when they were being a lot more open with like their dev/community interactions during all of COVID, especially in 2020. I think them actually getting bought and acquired by Sony and not in a partnership like they were with Activision is actually a really good thing, because now that gives Bungie access to Sony's production houses and production studios that are part of Sony to actually bring the storytelling and the environment of Destiny to the big screen.
For sure. I think that's the reason. I think the reason why they got acquired was for that reason, to be honest.
You make a good point with that, yeah.
I really think that's a lot of it behind it. Because let's be real, Destiny would make a hell of a good, I won't say movie.
No.
Because it's like a lot of video games, the story's so convoluted and so long, but it would make a great TV series.
Oh, I think, yeah, for sure. I think that they could do so much with it.
I really hope they don't do something like live action with that, because that would be kind of hard to play with in regards to live action. Like maybe like an animated TV series might work well for Destiny's case.
Yeah, I think both would work.
I mean, very well could be possible. Look at the success of Arcane.
Oh yeah.
I think both would work. I think if they did anything with the current characters, they would have to do animation for it to stick. But I think anything, if they wanted to create new stories with new characters, with new anything, they could easily do live action.
Oh, yeah.
But anything with the current characters, I think just works best in animation, just because getting an actor to look like Zavala ain't happening. Not even his voice actor looks like him, so.
Let's take a look at, I want to talk about, because this is big news for the gaming industry as a whole this year. I mean, between Microsoft acquiring Activision and then Bungie getting bought by SEI. If you notice something, and I know a lot of other Destiny content creators have said the same thing, and we're probably about to say the same thing they've all been saying. If you look at all these studios that were bought out by these other mega studios, like brands, they were studios that were at their very low point. So you take like Bethesda. They haven't produced a damn good game in a very long time. And if you think Fallout 76 is a good game, go ahead and uninstall Windows right now.
It's okay. It's okay.
On launch,
And look at-
it was garbage. Right now, it's playable.
It's all right.
I mean, where's our Elder Scrolls 6 at this point? How many years ago was that
We
Todd
got a
said that at
trailer.
fucking E3?
Yeah, how many Skyrim releases we getting before Elder Scrolls 6?
How many copies of Skyrim do you own? Because I own like 7.
And then look, all the controversy about sexual harassment and everything came out about Activision, and Activision was at a very low point as a company lately, and they got bought out by Microsoft. But if you look at the deal that PlayStation, Sony, they got for Bungie, Destiny is not a dead game. Destiny is not a game that's in a lull point. Destiny is not one of these, like Bungie is not one of these studios that are at a low point currently, kind of just sitting around doing nothing. They're actually still actively developing and keeping their player counts up and putting out content for the game. And from my understanding, making a pretty good chunk of change with the Silver Shop.
Oh, yeah.
So
I would say that they're at a low point, but I won't say they're at a high point. That IGN article did kind of make a lot of people go, I don't know if I'm going to buy Witch Queen.
I mean, that's fair, but I'm talking just overall as a business and a game studio currently.
Yeah.
They've not released anything for like 3 or 4 years. They've had they've had allegations and issues just like every business in the United States and in the world has, but they're not full of negative press and a lot of problems and games that are releasing dead and defunct on release 2042 and other games. So, I mean, honestly, as a business person myself, that is a smart investment. You're about to release an expansion. This is doing nothing but adding a lot of credibility and hype behind Bungie themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's y'all's opinion on that?
I share. I know a lot of my opinion forging has been. I've watched so many different people's points of views that I'm like, oh, you got a good point there. And an underrated one was from fucking Paul Tassi. I think Sony is less about thinking of, oh, this would make us good money now. I think they're thinking this would make us good money 5-10 years from now, because Bungie is prepping itself to try and become the next Blizzard, the next BioWare, the next like big game company that's working on so many games at once, so many RPGs, so many like story-driven games, so many live service games. They're grooming themselves up to, and I think Bungie wants to, because the words they're using are multimedia, multi-IP. They're trying to make themselves the new game company. They already were, because they already made like two really good, one iconic shooter, another really decent one. They're already there, but I think they're trying to become the next big boy.
Riot, almost.
The next big boy. I don't think Riot is huge. I think they're more
Yeah, but look
trying
at
to do like
how
a
many
Blizzard.
years it took for Riot to get where Riot was off the back of League and everything else.
I think they're grooming themselves up for that, and I think Sony knows that, and that's why Sony picked them up, because they're going to try and milk that out with money as much as possible.
Exactly, and that's
until Bungie just becomes so big, they're going to be like, fuck you, and then leaves. I wouldn't be surprised.
And that's one thing I want to point out too, is so many people are like, well, Bungie's not that great a game. Why would Sony buy them? Blah, blah, blah. You don't know what was shown to Sony board members from Bungie. We don't know like what IPs Bungie's actually been working on that we haven't seen anything of, or their engine upgrades or their technology or anything.
Also, a lot of people that go Bungie isn't that great of a company. Just to this, that's just because they don't like Destiny.
That is true.
Yeah, it's got like the whole Destiny dead game meme. Like this game has at peak times millions of people playing it. It's not dead.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, it's not dead. This is probably the most alive the game has been for so long.
And that's something for people that are still on the fence or wondering like why this happened. Just try to keep that in mind. You're not in that boardroom. We can all sit here and speculate as like armchair people talking about this. We're not in that boardroom. We haven't been a part of that discussion. And I want to make this perfectly clear for anybody that doesn't understand fucking business. This is not something that happened overnight. This is not something that happened in the 2 weeks since or whatever time frame since Microsoft bought Activision. this has been something that has been in the works for a very long time in the business world. Just from a legality standpoint of making all of the proper contracts, the I's dotted, the T's crossed. This is something that will have been being worked on for a while to even get to this point.
Yeah, they said that it's been about 6 months. They started talking 6 months ago. So it's been a while. It was definitely not just like mommy and daddy are fighting. So one of the kids start getting separated. It's been a thing for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if they just accelerated it because of the Activision acquisition. Would not be surprised if it got like pushed faster up the chain. But I don't think it's like Sony was just like, fuck you, and then picked up Bungie instead. Which honestly, if they did though, it would be a power move, because someone did point out that technically, Xbox owns Crash Bandicoot now. And so now, therefore, Sony buying Bungie, they've bought the original creators of Halo. And that's how 2020 is working so far. Xbox owns Crash. Sony owns the original creators of Halo.
Right? If you could have told me that when Halo originally came out and Bungie became a thing, that in 2022, Sony would own the creators of the Halo franchise, which it's not the same Bungie that made Halo that's around nowadays. But the fact that Microsoft would own Spyro and Crash, like, what the fuck? That's all I can say to that. But I think this stands as a testament to the big dick energy that Bungie had, that they've been such a successful company, even off of the back of Halo, that they're still in control of their IP, their main IP, which is Destiny. And I think that's a lot of probably why Bungie said no to Microsoft. Is Microsoft has a bad habit of wanting to step in and take control in a lot of areas. And Bungie's like, no. This is our baby. This is what we have been working on for the last X amount of years. We want to finish telling the story and doing what we want to do with this IP.
I think also that the money probably, like, I bet they both, I with Phil Spencer and Pete, the Bungie CEO, talking a lot, on Twitter. I bet at some point there was an offer, and I bet either that happened or the money wasn't enough. They were like, I don't know. I don't think we're worth $1.5 billion. I bet.
You think they lowballed Bungie?
I think they
Microsoft
lowballed.
did
100%. I think they lowballed. If that's what happens, if like Xbox, in the hypothetical situation where Xbox offered to buy Bungie, it either was they were like, but we want you to be exclusive. Like, Lightfall is exclusive to Xbox, and they're like, fuck no. Or they lowballed them, and Bungie was like, no, we know our worth, and then said no. I also think it's a big dick move to put Halo weapons in your game and then get bought by Sony.
Right.
It's a big dick move.
That really is, though. That really fucking is.
I said, fine, I'll do it myself.
Microsoft, the last time Bungie was owned by like a big conglomerate was Microsoft. And so many people get that confused. Bungie was never owned by Activision. They were partnered with Activision for Destiny and everything, but they were never owned by Activision. That's why it was a lot easier for Destiny at that time, Bungie, to split off and go independent when they got enough capital to do so and enough investors on the back end. They were able to do that. So this is huge because this is the first time Bungie's been owned by a large megacorp in the gaming world since the Microsoft days.
Yeah, this is a big deal for them. And that's why I don't think they took this decision like fast. They definitely sat and thought and picked at the offers and talked about it. And that's why I think that it's, at least immediately, we won't, for the next 4 to 5 years, we won't see damage. And if there is damage, that's not Sony. That's all Bungie. That's like, right? That's like, you could blame the Destiny 2 launch, the Curse of Osiris launch, and the Warmind launch on Activision. You cannot blame anything else on anybody for the next 3 or 4 years other than Bungie. And if anybody's like, so this is all Sony's fault, you have to look at it and go, since they have creative freedom of their game for the next 3 to 4 years, they had every right to say, no, we're not doing that. Or, no, we don't want to do that. And then Sony just goes, okay. And then that's it.
If you say so, Bungie.
Yeah, if they're like, cool. Or Bungie was the one that approaches Sony and goes, hey, let's add 4 strikes that are all exclusive to PlayStation. And Sony was like, fuck yeah, because they're not going to say no.
Well, and let's be real too. Nowadays, I don't think the console exclusives are going to be that bad. Yes, if that was to happen, yes, it's going to suck if you don't have access to said consoles. But Bungie has made it to where you can literally jump around as long as you own a copy of a game on that platform. You can jump around from platform to platform with your character. Years ago, back when Destiny 1 came out, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I don't think that if we get content exclusives, it's going to be the strikes, which, fine. Cool. It's a thing that I will probably play once and then skip from now on, I don't think we'll ever get an exotic that's like PlayStation exclusive, because there's no way that they can do that under crossplay. That sounds like a coding nightmare and just accidents waiting to happen that just look bad.
Because nowadays, think about it. I'm playing with you while you're on Xbox. Jake over here is on his PS and I'm on PC, and we're having fun. And then all of a sudden that strike comes out. What the fuck are you going to do? Because it's going to come up in Jake's pool for strikes, but not ours.
But it's also like, say Jake's playing on PlayStation and he turns around and he swaps to his PC. He can't, and he has that exotic equipped. Is it just going to force it off of him?
Right.
Or is it going to bug and it's going to let him play on it? And it's like, banana gun on PC? Whoa! It's like, yeah, it's
whoa, Jake, you got a banana gun?
That's the first time I'm hearing.
Banana gun at work, bruh?
Banana gun? But
I can check so many skills.
Yeah,
with this bad boy.
I just honestly, realistically don't think that they're going to do as bad of exclusives as they used to. And if they do, there's going to be backlash, and Bungie's going to be like, sorry about that, and then fix it in the next one.
Yeah, if there's going to be any sort of exclusivity, it's probably going to be like a temporary, like, we're going to have this on PlayStation for the first month or whatever, and then it's going to be accessible to the rest of the platform,
And I'd be fine with that.
I can see that.
Honestly,
yeah,
I'd be perfectly fine with that.
And if it's cosmetic, I'm even more fine with that. Like if it's an ornament set that is specifically on PlayStation, fine. I don't care. Go for it.
I honestly think that's what we would see for exclusives right now.
But yeah. I think that I do agree with the other side of the table. If it is locked, if content is locked behind behind a specific console, that is kind of shitty. Because imagine if they take, especially with an MMO, imagine if, since Squeenix is owned by PlayStation, or they're partnered?
Just partnered.
So imagine if Squeenix was bought by PlayStation and there was a specific, what's the strike for FF? I always forget the name.
So like a dungeon or a raid.
Yeah, a dungeon or a raid, or what's the weekly thing
Trials.
That they'll do? Trials, yeah.
Roulettes?
Yeah, the roulettes, there you go. Imagine if there was a roulette that was specifically locked behind specifically PlayStation. Like, that's fucking stupid. That's actually crazy.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly. That'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think we will, but if we do, it is totally understandable for people to be upset. Like, I completely understand.
Oh, absolutely.
I would be fine with it because honestly, like, especially if it's something like a strike, I don't care. Like, it's a strike. For me personally,
they had them like that already, and they've had exclusive strikes to begin with. Like, this is not
the
new.
other side of the table is right in the sense of that in today's day and age, that is old and that shouldn't be done. Because that's very anti-consumer and it's very, very not okay nowadays.
And one thing I would like to give credit to the Bungie managers and the board, they seem to be pretty happening. Hello, fellow kids, compared to a lot of other board members of game companies that have been around for 30 years.
They're out there more, but they're also very, they're from Washington. They're from Seattle. They're from like the Bellevue area, right?
Yep.
which is like outside of Seattle.
I would like to think they're a little bit more in touch, at least with their player base. Even though it's a meme in the Destiny community when Bungie says, "We heard you," I like to think they, at least in a fact like that, they have heard. They understand what happened in the past and they don't want it to repeat again.
They've also been under somebody's thumb before, so I think they know that this deal was going to fuck them up if they didn't look at it and think about it the right way. Because I think, honestly, with the Activision deal, they were like, we can't make our game. We're broke. Activision, you want to hang out? And so I think this time around, it's less of a, Dad, can we have some money? And more of a,
they
like,
pimped themselves out to Activision just to make Forsaken for us.
Hey, Vicarious Visions did miracles. That's why,
They really
honestly, I wouldn't have been upset if Xbox acquired. I mean, I would have, because Xbox is being really scummy right now. But that means Vicarious Visions would have been under the same umbrella, and we could have seen them work on Destiny again, which they killed it with Forsaken.
They really did.
But I mean, I know Aztec mentioned that this move was definitely also maybe influenced by the Activision acquisition, because Bungie does not like Activision at all. They do not. So I wouldn't be surprised if they also were maybe like in both of their pockets, and then that deal happened, and then they went, "Hey, Sony," like how
Might
you
have had,
doing?
or they might have been in negotiations and just decided, you know what? Let's just do it. Speaking of which, this looks like fucking anal beads right here.
Because it is anal beads.
Yeah, that's
Literally,
anal beads.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted right now, but I just walked by and that literally looks like anal beads.
Zer's anal beads.
Bruh, he's got a huge gaping
No, it's
asshole
Star
there.
Horses.
Why does a horse have anal beads?
It's good. He's a Paracal's a horse from an unknown dimension. He can do whatever he wants to be.
And on the next podcast, we'll tell you more about that.
It's not.
To kind of slowly wrap up this little quick whatever video this is, I don't even know. It's too late at night. My brain doesn't function.
Brain no go burr.
The good things I think about it going to Sony in this aspect is look at what this means for like Sony Interactive. They now have acquired probably what is the best multiplayer loot shoot RPG space magics thing.
It's probably the most successful live service game right now.
And I think that's going to be good for the platform, because if y'all did not know, back before October, Sony had trademarked PlayStation PC. And I think around October it launched, but a lot of people don't know this. If you have a PlayStation account, and I believe PlayStation Plus, and I'm not 100% sure on the details of it, you can actually install their app and play your PlayStation games on your PC with a controller.
I'll have to look at that after this little recording then, because I'm curious now.
And so that's kind of huge, especially now considering they have Bungie. And Destiny for years, and even to this day, is still played by a majority of people with controllers.
Yeah, majority of the player base plays with controller.
And so just think about it. If you've got the title now on your PlayStation, you can play it on your PC, just like you can with Xbox games.
I mean, they're also getting their own Game Pass. Wouldn't be surprised if Destiny shows up on their Game Pass. Which, how is that going to work with the Xbox Game Pass? Now that I think about it, because isn't it on the Xbox Game Pass?
Well, that's where a lot of the controversy has come in. Is Microsoft removed Destiny off of the Game Pass, and Witch Queen is not going to be on the Game Pass release.
Interesting.
Nice.
Very, very, very
Phil
interesting.
Spencer is punching his fucking wall right now. Phil Spencer is crying. He's crying in the club.
He is.
He's crumbing in the club.
He's crumbing in the club. He's like,
Don't. That did not sound like a cry. That sounded like something else.
That's why we said crumbing in the club, Kaj.
Oh, you said crumbing. I thought you said crying.
I said crying, but it sounded like
crumbing.
It sounded like crumbing.
There's not much difference nowadays for us.
Shout out to Professor Broman Crumb. Bro Crumb.
So here's the final thing I want to talk about, and I keep bringing this up every time we have a podcast or us get together, is OmniCollective. I did notice some verbiage. Do you think Destiny may be coming out with an MMO or MMORPG with their lore in it?
Ooh. I mean, I'm not sure about that.
I hope they just turn this game into. I don't know why they'd make another one. Just turn this one into the MMORPG.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Well, that way they can let this franchise finish and have a final story, but they can set it. I mean, think about it. Think about a Destiny MMORPG during the golden age.
Well, that's what the final shape's going to be. It's going to be a MMORPG.
The final shape is just them finally going to the MMORPG. Yeah. No, there's also a lot of people like on Twitter. Destiny 3 was trending, and it was a lot of people who just don't know about what they want to do with Destiny. They're just like, oh, it looks like Destiny 3 is exclusive. I hope everyone watching this knows they've stated multiple times they don't want to do a Destiny 3. Like Destiny 3 is
they
off
want to wrap up the story with the expansions they have planned and the content after.
Well, they just want to evolve this platform. They just want to keep building off of Destiny 2. Destiny 2 will be what you're playing Destiny on for the next like 6 years.
I don't want to be playing on this platform when I'm 60, okay? I don't like it that much.
Sonny, you want to run Scourge of the Past? You want to run a raid? Let's go do strikes, Petunia.
I want to play with my grandkids, man. Get your ass in a crucible.
Well, okay, so we can wrap this video up before it becomes like an hour-long podcast video.
User.
Any parting thoughts y'all want to add or tell to the listeners out there about this merger and everything? Because I will say this, and I'm going to get on my goddamn boomer soapbox here for a moment. I'm so tired of any time news breaks in the game industry, gamers far and wide automatically assume the worst or the negative connotations behind what is happening, instead of like reading and listening and looking at all the information provided. People just immediately jump to, well, what about me? What about this?
They don't like change.
Granted,
they like it the way it is, and they don't want
to play devil's advocate. People are acting that way because they've been groomed that way because of companies that are fucking shitty like Activision and EA. So I understand why they act like that. It sucks that they do, but it comes from a place. So I sit on the fence of, if you truly 100% care about what happens to this game and you don't like where it's heading, when it heads that way, don't go to a forum, because honestly, a CEO doesn't give a fuck what Epic Man 253 on Reddit on r/Destiny the game cares about and how many Reddit golds he got. He cares when people stop buying it. So stop ranting online and just fucking don't buy it, and then just leave. That's all that matters.
And don't start making threats against devs and their families.
Yes, that's so stupid.
Not the devs' fault.
So
though.
yeah, don't go
honestly.
to r/Destiny game under Epic Man 534 and say, man, I wish DMG had an awful morning and slept on the hot side of the pillow. I'm not actually going to say a threat because that's kind of, I don't want to do that.
No.
But
please don't get this video taken down.
No one cares what you say on r/Destiny the game. No one cares. Just don't buy it. Don't go to Steam reviews either. No one cares. Don't buy it.
And that's the truth.
And that a CEO will care at that point. When 100,000 people stopped buying his game, he's gonna be like, maybe we should change that. Not
because he's got to answer to that board.
Not a guy with 50K upvotes on Reddit. He doesn't care.
Bro, this sounds like it's coming from a place of true anger.
He just doesn't care.
You have become the boomer.
I just hate people thinking that a CEO is going to care what you said on Twitter. It doesn't make sense.
And most of these people in these businesses, like the devs and stuff, they didn't find out till a company-wide notice went out, like a company-wide meeting saying, oh, hey, just so y'all know, yesterday we were bought by Sony. Like, that's just how it works in the real world, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to business.
Well, Jake, you got any parting words for everybody? Any thoughts, comments, concerns?
The only thoughts that I have for this whole thing is I do hope it goes well. I am going to stay optimistic for it. Like, I'm going to be hesitant, but overall, I hope it does them well. and that they're able to achieve their dreams a little bit easier now that they have some sort of funding under their belt. And also, before we go, people just need to like chill out and just stop jumping to conclusions, because that's all I've been seeing on Twitter.
Well, that's going to wrap up this OmniCollective video here late at night. It's probably going to go up at like 1 or 2 a.m. So please make sure, if you're watching this video tomorrow or now or whenever you see this, hit that like button and subscribe. And of course, check out all of our social medias. They should be popping up on your screen any moment here.
Oh, look, there it is. Oh, shit.
Wow, look at that one.
Oh, shit, there it is.
Oh, right up there. Just click that button.
We'll see y'all in the next video.
I'll kiss you.